Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, Dhyan Yoga, verse number 8. Our journey through this chapter continues. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma
Jnana Vijnana Triptatma
Kutastho Vijitendriyaha
Kutastho Vijitendriya
Yukta Ityuchyate Yogi
Yukta Ityuchyate Yogi
Samaloshtasmakanchanaha.
Samaloshtasmakanchanaha.
Translation. The yogis who are satisfied by knowledge and discrimination and have conquered their senses remain undisturbed in all circumstances. They see everything, dirt, stones, and gold, as the same. For those of you who may have missed out yesterday and day before's lectures, Sri Krishna started off by saying that Arjuna, it's not by external renunciation that somebody becomes a sannyasi. A true sannyasi has to be a true yogi, and a true yogi has to be a true sannyasi, because it's determined by the state of the mind. And the mind can only be detached from the world if it is attached to God. To attach it to God, you have to detach it from the world. So rather than artificially renounce the world, Arjuna, stay in the world. Carry on with your worldly duties and take your mind to God. This is the principle of Karma Yoga, which is the crux of Sri Krishna's instructions. But then he clarifies how long should you do Karma Yoga. And he says, Arjuna, until you become a sage of steady mind. If you are a yoga rurukshu, stay in the world and do sadhana. Once you have become yoga rud, then you go and reside in Vrindavan. Don't reverse the process. People say, I will go first reside in Vrindavan and then I'll do my sadhana. Sri Krishna says, no. Sri Krishna says, first you perfect yourself in Silicon Valley and then think of going to the Himalayas. We want the reverse. I run away from all problems. There I reside in the ashram, and then the vairagya will come about. Says, this is bogus. How do you know you are detached if you are living in the Himalayas? One sadhu stayed in a cave for 12 years ahead of Haridwar. And when the Kumbh Mela happened, which comes once in 12 years, he descended from there. Now in Haridwar, at the time of the Kumbh Mela, there are something like 12 million people, sometimes 20 million people who come for the sacred bath over a space of a month. One Sethji had come from Delhi to Har Ki Pauri. Now in that crowd, he was not careful. His high-heeled shoe came on the sadhu's foot, and the sadhu's nail got yanked out. The sadhu cried out in fury, "Are you blind? Can you not see?" Then the sadhu started thinking, 12 years of sadhana, got washed away in a moment. So you did sadhana there, it got tested in the world. The fact is, this world is not the problem. This world is the veritable form of God. Ishavasyamidam sarvam. The problem is the world inside of us, the state of our mind. That mind, Sri Krishna said, Arjun, can be your worst enemy, but it can also be your best friend. So, then he started giving the symptoms of somebody who is yoga-rudh, who is qualified to leave the world and take sannyas. He is explaining out here one who has become kutastha, tatastha, who has learned to become detached. How? By virtue of jnana and vijnana. How do you become detached? The power of true knowledge will help you become detached. One industrialist had been working so hard to make his factory a success year after year after year. And his state of mind had fluctuated with the successes and failures of his industry. Until he said, enough is enough. Let me now dispose it off. His children were saying, Father, you don't need more. He said, I know, but my chit is attached there. So finally he was convinced. He said, all right, sell it off. And the son said, we've got a customer. We've arranged for the deal. Now, one morning the news came that his factory is on fire. He said, what? He went running there and he saw the workers all around completely dejected. Our income, means of livelihood is going up in flames. Some of them were shedding tears. This industrialist was also shedding tears. Until his son came and said, Father, what are you crying about? Our factory is going up in flames. The son said, don't you remember? We sold it 3 days ago. Really? Ah, thank God. All his misery has disappeared. Until the second son came and he said, I have bad news for you. Well, factually, the contract had been signed and agreed upon, but the other side was yet to sign it. The deal was not complete. The industrialist said, really? Whoa! Again he started crying. And the third son came. He said, I just met the customer and he is a true gentleman. He says he will honor the deal even though he is not obliged to, because morally he felt that the contract had been completed. That industrialist said, really? Thank God how kind you are. Now look at the way his sorrow is coming and going based on the knowledge that is being made available to him. When he decides this is mine and it's gone up in flames, he is miserable. And when he decides this is not mine, now he is no longer miserable. So knowledge makes such a difference. But actually, sometimes knowledge doesn't make a difference. When is that? When it is only theoretical knowledge without the concomitant faith in that knowledge. Once a father and mother, their son passed away. how unfortunate, one of the biggest griefs in this world, the death of a near and dear one. And as is the tradition in our Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism, a Pandit, a Vedic scholar, was invited to give a lecture, and he gave a lecture on the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Nainam Chindanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavaka, Vasansi Jirnani Yatha Vihaya. He explained to the child's father and mother that the soul never dies. The soul is eternal. It is only changing bodies like you change clothes. So you should not grieve. And the parent said, yes, Pandit, you're very right. We should not grieve. 15 days later, Panditji had a goat. The goat passed away. And he started lamenting. Now that father and mother said, Arey Maharaj, 15 days ago you told us don't cry even though your son has passed away. Today your goat has gone and you are crying. He said, the son was yours, so I could say that, but the goat was mine. So this knowledge was theoretical. It was not realized experiential knowledge. So mere knowledge is called Gyan. When it becomes a realization, it becomes Vigyan. That Vigyan is so powerful. It brings about detachment. Jeweler, he had a premature death. At the time when he left the world, his son was just a 3-year-old. And the jeweler's wife, she was at ends how to run the family. But she knew that her husband had kept some jewels in one place. She took them to her deceased husband's friend, another jeweler, and said, Sir, I'm in real trouble. You were such a close friend to my husband. This treasure which he had accumulated, can you please keep this? Sell it off and give me the money. He said, look, right now the rate of jewels is not good enough. I'll give you some maintenance so you can run yourself. So he gave her something and kept giving her. And this sequence went on for 15 years. Until the son who had been a 3-year-old became an 18-year-old. And the lady said, can you please give me the jewels or sell them off now so my son can run the business? He brought the jewel case and gave them to the son. By now the son had become trained in recognizing precious stones. He looked at them and went and trashed them. Mother said, what happened? Said, they were all fake. So the friend said, I knew all the while they were fake. But if I had told you at that time, you would not have realized it. You were valuing them as real things. Likewise, in the state of ignorance, we give importance to things that are not so important. Whether I am ahead of my colleague in the rat race, we give so much of importance to external successes, which are not that important. And things that are really important, the inner treasures, the spiritual wealth, we marginalize them because of our lack of understanding. And Sri Krishna is saying, when you are endowed with Gyan and Vigyan, knowledge and its realization, you will become tatastha. You will become neutral to the things of the world. You will be able to then treat honor and dishonor in the same light. That reminds me of my favorite English poem since school days. Rudyard Kipling's If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can hold on when there's nothing left in you except the will which says to you, hold on, if you can fill each minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And what's more, you'll be a man, my son. Advice from a father to a son. So that concept of sthita prajna, which Sri Krishna talks about again and again, is universally recognized as a state of enlightenment. And how does that state come about? When you understand, I am not the body, I am the soul. If I am the body, all this is so important. Beta, pepi, beti, mummy, papa, bhai, bahan, husband, wife, this is foremost important. But when you say, I am the soul, then the relatives of the soul are the Paramatma. सच्चे सखा है हरि हमारे, माता पिता मीत सुबंधु प्यारे, भूलो न भाई दिन रात गाओ, गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति. Shankaracharya says, Kate Kanta Kaste Putra, O soul, how many relatives have you made in each lifetime? Father, mother, husband, wife, son, daughter. Then you leave them all, then again you make a set of relatives, then you leave them all, then again you make a set of relatives. So understand who is truly yours. Jagan Guru Sri Kripaluji Maharaj gave 108 lectures. Main kaun? Mera kaun. Who am I? Who is mine? So knowledge tells you, I am the soul, and mine is Bhagavan, Radha, Sri Krishna. Then you become detached, kutastha. Let's move on. Suhrin mitraryudasinam,
Surin mrityaryudasinam,
adhyastha dveshya bandhushu,
adhyastha dvesha bandhushu,
sadhushvapi cha papeshu,
sadhushvapi cha papeshu,
samabuddhir vishishyate.
samabuddhir vishishyate.
Translation: the yogis look upon all, well-wishers, friends, foes, the pious and the sinners, with an impartial intellect. The yogi who is free, who is of equal intellect towards friend, companion and foe, neutral amongst enemies and relatives, and unbiased between the righteous and sinful, is considered to be distinguished amongst humans. So, we people, with whom do we make friends? Those who fulfill our self-interest. We become attached. And those who hurt our self-interest, we develop bitterness or dvesh. Now this world is full of duality. There is the night and the day. There is the winter and the summer. The flood and the drought. Success and failure. Fame and infamy. Jada chetan guna dosha maya vishvakeen karatara. Tulsidas ji says that God made this world with dualities. That is why Hegel, he established this dialectics. Now, rather than oscillating between likes and dislikes, if you wish to conquer your mind, you have to rise above it. If you stay in the platform of likes, your miseries will never cease. The Buddha, his Dhammapad, it begins from here. I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that. Suffering will never cease for a person who keeps thinking like this. And I like this, I don't like that, I like this, I don't like that. Suffering will completely finish for a person who rises above this. So this is the state of tatastha. Because this liking and disliking is the function of the mind. And you are going beyond the mind. See, it doesn't matter what I like or don't like. What matters is what is pleasing to God. Let me do that. So you go by your higher purpose in life and not your likes and dislikes. Children go by likes and dislikes. Beta come for Swamiji is like, Mummy, I don't like. Now problem is when we grow up also we are going by likes and dislikes. But if you want to lead a meaningful life, you have to put likes and dislikes aside and say, I don't care what my mind is saying. I will go by my higher purpose. Now what do Indians in America do? They keep on thinking, should I go back to India or should I stay here? Somebody was telling me, Swamiji, in parties, 90% of the conversation is this. And what is the discussion about? Where will I maximize my happiness? And look at the gopis. When Sri Krishna got a headache in Dwarka, he deliberately created a headache. Because the queens of Dwarka were thinking that what is so special about these gopis? They're village women and we are queens. But moment Sri Krishna remembers these gopis, he forgets all of us. Even though we are Rupvati, Gunvati, Kulvati, Kalavati, everything. So Sri Krishna created a Leela. So I'm getting a headache, somebody do something. Now, all the queens, Rukmani, Satyabhama, whatever they had, one said, I've got this microfine Aspro, and the other said, I've got Crocin and tried Tylenol. Nothing is working. So finally Narad ji came. He had the same doubt which the queens had. So he said, what is the matter? Why is everybody so serious? He was told. And he went straight to Sri Krishna and said, Tribhangi Lal, this chakkar which you have created, you tell us what is the solution. Sri Krishna said, if I get the foot dust of one of my devotees, my headache will go. Narad said, at least there is some scope for resolution. He went to Rukmani. Mataji, we need your foot dust. What for? Your husband Dwarkadish eats it, his headache will go. Rukmani said, Naradji, you know what will happen? I will get a bad name in this world. And my parlok, afterlife, it will come into great danger. I can't do such a thing. All the queens kept on refusing. So Sri Krishna said, Narad, you won't get it here. Go to Vrindavan and tell the gopis. When Narad ji reached Vrindavan, all the gopis gathered. Narad gave a lecture. The foot dust is the need of the hour. The gopis immediately extended their feet. Take as much as you want. Get a U-Haul and fill it up. Narad said, do you know for whom I am taking the foot dust and what will be the consequence to you? The gopi said, Maharaj, we know. You are going to take our foot dust and give it to God. And the consequence can be that we go to hell. But listen, Naradji, for us, hell is inconsequential. All we need is Sri Krishna to become all right. Apart from that, from our perspective, whether it is Narak or Swarg, whether it is hell or heaven, or this earth planet or Golok, all of them are irrelevant. Our only interest is how Sri Krishna becomes all right. Those people will differentiate who are wanting self-happiness. And the gopis are situated in such selfless love. Their only chintan is how will Sri Krishna get happiness. So they say it doesn't matter. That is the ultimate of a purposeful life. So when you wish to lead a life of meaning and higher purpose, you have to put these mental likes and dislikes aside. That is what Sri Krishna is saying. In that state, you become neutral to all these dualities and move to your goal. In the world, all the dramas will keep happening. People will come and praise you and criticize you and oppose you and support you. So what should be your attitude to all these dramas? Let us say a man is walking in the marketplace. He wishes to buy some sweets. He wants to go to the Mishthan Bhandar, the Indian sweet shop. On the way, varieties of shops are coming. There's a meat shop. There's a cloth shop. Now he doesn't say, okay, there's a meat shop here, then forget about sweets, let me purchase meat. Nor does he fight with the shopkeeper. I wanted sweets, why do you have a meat shop on the way? Why, this is a marketplace. There'll be all kinds of shops. You don't want meat, you be neutral, don't fight for them. So be neutral to all these shops and keep moving in the direction of that sweet shop. Likewise, in this world, you decide your supreme goal and then be neutral to the rest. It is not your duty. This person needs to be brought to justice. Kabir ji says, Kabira khada bajar mein, sabki mange khair, na kahu so dosti, na kahu so vair. He says, I'm in this market of the world. Neither friendship nor enmity. It's all right. I am focused on my goal. So Sri Krishna is giving that state in this verse. We can move ahead. Now he's getting more serious. Verse 10. Yogi unjita satatam
Yogi yunjita tatatam
atmanam rahasisthitah
Atmanam rahasi sthitah
ekaki yat chittatma
Ekaki yat chittatma
nirashir parigraha.
Nirashira parigraha.
Translation: those who seek the state of yoga should reside in seclusion, constantly engaged in meditation with a controlled mind and body, getting rid of desires and possessions for enjoyment. Now, Sri Krishna talked about the state of mind. That is the state of realization, where you are able to rise beyond likes and dislikes. He is now giving us the pathway to reach there. He is not just telling us, okay, you be like this. He's telling us the pathway. Once a centipede developed arthritis. See, when human beings develop arthritis, they've got two knees that start creaking. And a centipede has got 100 knee joints. And it developed arthritis. Imagine its state. So this centipede was now walking up the tree. And an owl came by. So owl is supposed to be wise, as wise as an owl, at least in English it is said. So the owl said, Mr. Centipede, I am feeling so much of compassion at your state. Can I make a suggestion? The centipede said, go ahead. If you were to become a swan, you would have only 2 legs. Your arthritic problem would reduce from 100% to 2%. The centipede said, Mr. Owl, that is brilliant. Tell me, how will I become a swan? The owl said, look, I don't know these things. I only make policy decisions. It's for you to implement. So you say something that cannot be implemented. Arjun become like this. Arjun will say, how will I become like this? So Sri Krishna is giving him the methodology. He says, Arjun, the key to this, remember, you don't suddenly change. It has to be a slow, gradual process. If somebody is wishing to become strong and say, okay, one day I take 10 pounds of ghee and I'll also become Dara Singh. They will not become Dara Singh by any means. You slowly increase your diet and exercise and you will increase your muscle strength. So likewise, you say my mind is at this level and I want it to go to that level. It will have to be a journey, a little delta at a time. And in that, the key will be practice. So there are 2 things. One is goal setting and one is goal getting. Goal setting is the first part. You get the knowledge, set the goal. That's the state desired. And goal getting is the journey to there. And the key in that is practice. Practice, practice, practice. Practice has got tremendous power in it. All the skill sets we accomplished, we developed for all a consequence of practice. Look at the way people type 60 to 100 words in a minute. Somebody who is unfamiliar with the typing process coming from the village first to the city and sees your fingers flying on the keyboard, they'll say, my God, this guy's got some yogic siddhi, thinking so fast and moving like this. So it is all the consequence of 1 year of practice. So if you, just as you accomplish physical proficiency through repetition, it will be the same with mental proficiency as well. Those you find to be in a state of realization, the saints, Sur, Tulsi, Mira, Kabir, don't think that the spiritual success fell into their laps. Don't think it was a sudden long jump there. They all followed the same process. They kept on practicing and God kept on gracing. Tapah prabhavat deva prasadacha, your efforts and the grace of God. So this practice, the kind of fruits it bears, take inspiration from the legendary Dhyan Chand. Dhyan Chand, his birthday is celebrated in India as the National Sports Day. And the equally legendary Donald Bradman from cricket, he said of Dhyan Chand that he scores goals the way I score runs. Dhyan Chand, he was actually a bantamweight wrestler in his youth until he joined the army, where he joined as a little Lance Nayak, etc. And he got on to hockey. But he practiced and practiced and practiced. And the consequence was that in the year 1928, when field hockey was reintroduced into the Olympics, India decided to send a team. So, Dhyan Chand was a member of the team. And the Olympics was in Amsterdam. In the pre-Olympic matches, India lost to Netherlands. But nevertheless, as the tournament progressed, they played 5 games. In the finals, they met Netherlands again. And India defeated them 4-1 to get the Olympic gold. And the way Dhyan Chand played, he was the lead scorer of the entire tournament, scoring 12 goals. They said, do you have a magnet on your stick? They broke his stick to see whether there was a magnet there. But the next Olympics was in 1932 in Los Angeles. And now India was the reigning champion. Dhyan Chand went there as the captain of the team. And India had a great success all the way through until in the finals they met the US national team and defeated them 24-1, which was for many decades the largest victory margin at the international level. And Dhyan Chand scored 8 of those goals. Finally, in 1936, it was Dhyan Chand's final Olympics. This was in Berlin, at the time when Hitler was the dictator. And the Indian team came, they were bogged down by a lot of injuries and sickness. Nevertheless, they made all their way through to the finals, where they met the German team. And all of Berlin had been filled with posters, come and see this Indian magician play. In front of Hitler, India played Germany. Until half time, it was drawn at 1-1. And in the second half, India moved ahead to defeat Germany 8-1. So at the time of giving the award, Hitler asked Dhyan Chand that, what do you do? He said, I am in the Indian army. What is your rank? I am a Lance Naik. He said, come over to Germany. I am offering you German citizenship. I'll make you a colonel. So Dhyan Chand gave the classic answer. He said, India is not for sale. He rejected Hitler and returned. So this kind of proficiency has never been seen in the history of field hockey. But how did he achieve it? It was all practice, practice. When he started playing hockey for the Indian Army, he practiced so much, it was not enough. So he would then go out at night again when everybody was asleep to again practice in the field. And because he would practice under the moon, and the moon is called Chand, that is how he got the name, which was originally Dhyan Singh. People started calling him Dhyan Chand. Chand. And he would put the ball on the railway line and then keep moving it forward for miles. That kind of practice bore fruit. So Sri Krishna says here, Arjun, if you wish to become Yogarud, there is no alternative to practice. So every day go into isolation. Every day withdraw yourself from the world for a little while. Why? Because all day long your intention is good. I want to get spiritual progress. But the best of intentions gets short-circuited by the distractions of the world. You want to keep your mind in God, but you got Chunnu Munnu Pappu Tinku at home who are pretty distracting. So Sri Krishna says in this verse that Arjun, for some time every day go into isolation, where the world cannot disturb you, where your mobile is switched off into flight mode, so the instant messaging, pagers, etc. can't reach you. You block out the world. Now you absorb your mind in God. So that absorption which you achieve will help you, keep you in good stead for the rest of the day. Just like when people who cook, mostly the ladies are aware, if you cook jackfruit, they put oil on their hands so that the milk doesn't stick. And then they cook very easily. And if they've not put oil in their hands, the milk sticks and you keep applying the soap, it doesn't go. Likewise, in isolation, you make your mind absorbed in God, free from rag and dvesh. And later on, when you start doing your worldly works, you will find that the mind is no longer getting pulled down. It has a tendency for your consciousness to soar high. So what a beautiful journey in this verse. Till this number 10th shloka, Sri Krishna has now introduced us to the need for sadhana. He will then tell us how to do your daily sadhana. So now we've come to the main point. Sri Krishna talked about the need for improving the mind. He talked about the state of the realized sages who have controlled their mind. And he then said, Arjun, you must practice it on a daily basis, in isolation. How to practice, he is going to tell us now. See, this is important for all of us. We people are so careful about cleaning our homes. If your neighbor comes with a garbage pail and empties it on your Turkish carpet of your living room, how annoyed you will be. Hey, clean it or I'll call 911. You want to keep your house clean. The garbage that you create, you keep that also out of sight. And in our mind, we want to bring all the garbage, raga, dvesh, this person is bad, that is like this, anger, hatred, anxiety. Why? Because we've never prioritized the mental practice. Decide this sadhana is important and learn it. Let's learn from Sri Krishna. So we are now moving on to verse number 11. Shuchau deshe pratishthapya
Shuchau deshe pratisthapya
Sthiramasanamaatmanah
Sthiramasanamaatmanah
Natruchitam nati nicham
Natruchitam nati nicham
Chaila jinakushottaram
Jailajina kushottaram.
Translation. To practice yoga, one should make an asana, seat, in a sanctified place. By placing kush grass, deer skin, and a cloth, one over the other. The asana should be neither too high nor too low. So, Sri Krishna is being very practical. He says, look Arjun, when you sit for your sadhana, first of all you should find a suitable place. You can do sadhana everywhere. Because sadhana is about control of the mind. A true yogi will be able to sit in the marketplace and become oblivious to what is going on. But you are not a true yogi, right? So you have to accept the reality. That is why you create in your house a divine spot. This is your puja room where you have the altar with God and Guru there. And a little arti, etc. You're doing your daily little arti. So, moment you go there, the mind falls into its habituated mode. Starts developing spiritual thoughts. Like when you enter the mall, do you get spiritual thoughts? No. See, listen to him. When you get into the temple, you immediately fall into that mode because you have practiced it for so many years. Likewise, when you make a spot like that, you enter, by virtue of practice, you fall into that mindset. So create such a place in your house. And then, out there, the question arises, what is the best time for sadhana? How long should one do sadhana in the first place? Well, the scriptures tell us for 1/10 of your time. Just like the scriptures say, take out 1/10 of your earnings and give them away in charity. This will purify your wealth. Knowingly, unknowingly, you commit sin in earning. You hurt so-and-so, you kind of deprived so-and-so of their livelihood, etc., etc., knowingly, unknowingly. Even the microorganisms you are killing merely when you are walking to office. Sin is unavoidable. Sri Krishna says, Arjun, like a fire always has smoke on it. There is no work in the world that's completely free from sin. So, how do you free yourself, absolve yourself from the sins? You dedicate your work to God. In this case, the injunction given is, whatever you earn, you take out 1/10 and give it in charity. It will cleanse your wealth. Otherwise, impure wealth will get lost in court cases and doctors' bills. Likewise, for the time as well, God has given you 24 hours. You take out 1/10 for Him. 1/10 means roughly 2 hours. So the scriptural injunction is spend 2 hours for your spiritual sadhana every day. It will bring your whole life into balance. But some people say, Swamiji, this is impossible. On the office time, if we have to go from here to Sunnyvale, it will take us 1 hour, and coming back also take us 1 hour. Did God not know the traffic situation here? And even the HOV lane has been changed from 2 passengers to 3 passengers. That saving is also gone. So for the people of Silicon Valley, it's possible God has a special rule. Just take out 1 hour every day. But for 1 hour, you make a resolve. I will definitely do sadhana for 1 hour on a daily basis. Some people say, what? Resolve, Swamiji, you said it, I heard it. Isn't that enough? This hearing is never enough. When you hear the satsang, you become motivated. And when the satsang is over, the motivation suffers an exponential decay. It's like you put the iron into the fire, it became red hot. And you pulled it out, after half an hour, it's back to normal. Likewise, every time when I come, there are people who say, Swamiji, I found the goal of my life, I have understood it all, pass, you have cleared it, I'll go for it now. And next year Swamiji comes. Our JKO volunteers, they phone up, you know that Mukundananda has come again. Mukundananda? Which Mukundananda? Forgotten about. So this step no Swamiji can do for you, that they sit down in Silicon Valley for 365 days because they've got work in other places. You have to take this step. Which means the sadhana has to be done by you. एक पेड़ दो पक्षी बैठे, एक गुरु एक चेला, अपनी करनी गुरु उतरे, अपनी करनी चेला. Everybody has to fly their own flight. The Guru will give us the knowledge. To do it is our work. So make a resolve. I will definitely dedicate 1 hour for my own soul. Those who say, I don't have time. Time for what? For sadhana, Swamiji, I don't have time. There's so much of work pressure from Apple, from Google and Nvidia, etc. You don't have time for sadhana and you've got time for everything else. Now supposing you develop a physical affliction, you've got hepatitis and the liver is not functioning. Doctor says you must do 1 week complete bed rest or the liver will suffer permanent damage. Now you've put in your leave application. Arey, you did not go to office for 7 days. You know, if I go then my liver will get spoilt. For the liver you took out 1 week. And for your own soul, you could not take out time. The body that is made out of mud is of paramount importance to us. And the soul, which is the real you, that doesn't have value. It's not that you don't have time. You have not decided that it's a priority. So that decision when you make, you will say, okay, I can definitely take out 1 hour. The question arises that what is the best time for sadhana? Next question. The best time is the morning. It's called Brahma Muhurt. Brahma is God. Muhurt is the time, the slot. So Brahma Muhurt is the time for God. 2 hours before sunrise till sunrise. At that time, the environment is clean and there's less noise pollution. Chunnu Munnu Pappu Tinku have not woken up as yet. And you've also woken up with a fresh mind. So in that fresh mind, if you plant God, the thoughts will take root easily. And that absorption, which is easy in the morning, will bear fruit for you all day long. So take advantage of that. But if you say, no, Swamiji, I have got a late night shift or I have to handle my offshore teams at that time, how can I do sadhana? Never mind, then you find some other time. Or split it up, half now, half later. Make your timetable as per your convenience. All right, now I've determined my time and time slot and also my place where I should sit. So the question arises, in which direction should I face? Well, in bhakti, this question is irrelevant because God is everywhere. Prabhu Vyapak Sarvatra Samana. In yoga sadhana, these kinds of energies and all, they are given attention to. When you are surrendering to God, you are under Sarva Shaktiman, the supreme power. Now these things lose relevance. Your goal is to purify your mind. Jo man changa, to kathati mein ganga. We people give too much of emphasis to this. That is why all builders in the USA have understood that if you make a north-facing house, you can give 50,000 extra from the Indian community. I was once in Gujarat and I used to do Padaramani out there. Gujaratis know Padaramani. So I went to somebody's house. He said, Swamiji, come to my puja room. I said, sure. I did pranam. Always do pranam in the puja room. He said, you see anything wrong out here? Why should I see something wrong? No. One Panditji came and he said the direction is wrong. So break this house and make it again. I said, how much is the house for? 2 crore rupees, Swamiji. 2 crore, 20 million rupees, you will break it down, just direction is wrong. Arey Baba, every direction is Bhagavan. Eko Deva Sarva Bhuteshu Guda. If your mind is not pure, then you bother about these things. And when the mind is pure, then God is Maya Tatam Idam Sarvam, Sri Krishna will say. So don't bother about those things. And which asana should you sit in? So Sri Krishna says, sit in any comfortable asana. Even Maharshi Patanjali has said it in his Yoga Sutras, Sthiram Sukham Asanam. So he says, Sukham, sit comfortably. Now I say, I must sit in Padmasana. Only 20% of the people can sit in perfect Padmasana, lotus pose. Now you force yourself, oh my God, knee is paining. How will you meditate? So whatever posture you are comfortable in, you sit. But sit alert. Alert means that, look, when you are doing sadhana, there's a tendency for the mind to become lazy. Because the mind is material. It's made from Maya. And in sadhana, you are taking the mind to the divine. This is anti-material. Initially, the mind will not get ras, bliss. The mind will get bored and become lazy. That is why you find people, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Ram. Some people say, I went into samadhi. They keep sleeping. You ask them, did you sleep? No, I went into samadhi. So that's to avoid this kind of samadhi, Sri Krishna is saying that sit alert. Now you don't find somebody is eating rasgulla and going asleep because the material mind and senses are getting ras. But in the spiritual side, initially the material mind has to be forced. So be wary that you don't become lazy. Otherwise, Nidra Devi, sleep is always there to take you in her lap. That is why you sit alert. And now the main point will come. Take your mind to God. These were all preparatory. Now the next thing will come. Take your mind to God. So how do you take your mind to God? I'll not tell you today. It's in the next verse which we'll take tomorrow. So you are all planning to come tomorrow? Yes, sir. Good. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki.